Good evening, everybody. We'd like to welcome you to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the City of Hermantown for September 19th, 2023. It's currently 7 o'clock in the evening. We're going to start the evening with a roll call. Got myself, Corey Colquist here, Audrey Roulette, Samuel Clark, Beth Wenslaw, Buckley Simmons, and Dante Tomasoni are not here, and Councilor Geisler here. Thank you for that. Second is an approval of this evening's agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
I'd move to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Can I get a second?
Colquist with the second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 3 this evening is the approval of the minutes from the July 18th, 2023 regular meeting. Can I get a motion for that, please?
Colquist.
Thank you for that. Can I get a second?
Clark with the second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes as well. Number 4 is public discussion. Is anybody here to speak on an item that is not on this evening's agenda? If you are, this is the time to do. Not seeing anyone, we move on to number 5. This evening's public hearing. 5A is an application by Union Gospel or Union Cemetery Association for a rezoning of 6.4 acre parcel located at 3807 Getchell Road. The parcel is zoned public with a proposed rezoning to R3 residential. Eric, what do you have in this one?
Great, thank you very much. And I'm going to try to find that sweet spot so we don't echo so much. But they can hear us at home tonight. So this is a property at 3807 Getchell Road. As I said, it's an existing cemetery, Union Cemetery. It's comprised of 2 different parcels of land, basically split, running north-south. So Union Cemetery is looking to subdivide the northern 6+ acres of the cemetery, which is currently not being utilized. It's an existing green space and forested land that occurs in this area on the screen. So as you recall, Bethany Cemetery last year went through something similar that way. Just with the
Eric, you want to hold for a second? They're having a hard time hearing.
and there's, like I said, there's a sweet spot. If I turn this off, they can't hear us at home either. But if I mute here, I'll try that. If I mute here, they lose it at home. And there's the people from the Twin Cities for the next one.
You want to turn it on for that
Unless we all kill our mics. That's the only way to do it because it's picking up all of our mics.
We tried that?
I can try it.
Is this better? Still got it.
Let's try it.
We'll try this. One more time. Come on over here.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So since I believe the only one that's online, we have 2 people online. I'm trusting that they might be here for another item. So at least I think the majority of you are here tonight for this first application. So I'll try to bring my mic back online afterwards. So getting back to it, this is the northern 6+ acres of the Union Cemetery site. As I'd mentioned, the property's currently in 2 parcels that run, the dividing line essentially runs north-south. Union Cemetery, this is an area that has some existing wetland as well as wooded area associated, not used by the cemetery. Similar to Bethany Cemetery that we went through a year ago with an increase in cremations, that we're not finding the need so much for additional burial plots that way. And so in this case, this is actually the 3rd cemetery that's looked to divest themselves of some land. The first one actually being Sunrise Cemetery that switched over a couple of their parcels to commercial. So once again, just before us this evening is basically it's going to be the subdivision of this this lot here into the 6.4 acres plus or minus for a rezoning from P public to R3 residential. At this time, there are no applications for anything to occur on this property. But what this does, this allows Union Cemetery to market this as a potential residentially zoned property at that point. So that would have to be a step that occurs prior to a sale, because otherwise a person will be buying public property. If and when, assuming this is favorably viewed by Planning Commission and approved by City Council, any future applications for development other than essentially a couple lots would still come back to planning and zoning as well as City Council as far as any potential development that way. But at this evening, all that we're looking at is a change from P public to R3 for the northern 6.4 acres of this lot.
Perfect, Eric. Thank you for that. Commission members, any questions or comments so far on 5A?
I just have a question just to clarify. There's two separate parcels there. And it appears that they have different names on the two parcels. Are they in fact one owner?
By the Union Cemetery, yeah, that they're the overall arching owner of that. Because I looked at the billing address and it's the same one for those things. And what we're going to do as part of this is we'll have essentially we'd have them combine those two lots. So right now it would be essentially then it would be a north and a south lot at that point. So that would make the most sense from at least a zoning or a cleanup standpoint.
Thank you for that. By any chance, is the applicant here this evening and would you like to speak? Sir, come on up, please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, please.
My name is Doug Peterson. My address is 3720 Alexander Road in Hermantown. As was stated, to keep the cemetery viable, we need to sell some property. And like you said, there's more cremations than there is full burials these days, so we don't need the property for that.
Commission members, any questions for the applicant so far?
Do you happen to know how the cemetery was formed originally?
I believe it was some churches in the West End, like First Covenant and Temple Baptist and one other to start with. Like First Covenant was the leading head of that, but it was in the late 1800s.
And they purchased them?
Yep. Yep.
Any other questions for this gentleman at this time? Thank you very much, sir. We might need you to come back. If anybody would like to come and speak on this, we're going to open up a public hearing on this. It's 7:08 p.m. Please come on up, state your name and address for the record. Hi there.
Good morning, council. My name is William Hahn. I live at 3840 Gatchell Road, directly across the street. I have a couple of concerns, primarily dealing with the wildlife in the area. We have a pond directly across from it, and we know it is a wetland. We see the water levels rising, and it's a runoff pond. But my concern is that the muskrats and the other animals that habitate our area, they share the adjacent space across the street. And as it's developed and the wetlands are kind of pushed out and drainage is improved, because it's going to have to be improved if it's a marsh territory, that the impacts for our property across the street, it may dry up their habitat. So that's one of the concerns. And then we have little kids. We picked this place out in Hermantown specifically for its remoteness and the access with additional houses, and some of the construction traffic could potentially have some impacts for the families that live in our area too. So as a concerned citizen, not that I'm trying to stifle growth, I like the idea of development. It's great for the city. It's great for most everybody. But in this case, concerns to the habitat the pristine environment that we moved into, and then also watching out for our kids and the traffic on the streets. But that's the concerns that we have.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. For anybody else that needs to come up and speak this evening? Come on up, state your name and address for the record, please.
Greg Zimmerman, 3855 Getchell Road. Don't enjoy being on the side of the table as much, but my question is about my understanding that there's a pending sale on the property. Is that the case? And if so, what is the intentions for the use of that? Is it gonna be divided up into lots, or is there a development plan for that? Or,
There's been no application at this time. I've heard rumors of a sale as well, but until an application is made, we have nothing to go on. So right now, all that we're looking at is the rezoning from P public to R3 residential. You know, if and when an application comes in, it'll come back before this group again.
all right. I don't know if Doug would be able to clarify on that, or if there's anything to say about that at this time, but that was basically my questions.
Thanks, Greg. Come on up, state your name and address for the record, ma'am.
My name's Nancy Deaver. I live at 3868 Getchell Road. I'm down the road from this development, but I'm concerned for, I'm just going to highlight three concerns. The first one is living there. I've been living there since almost 9 years now. We became a walker's road, a friendly road for during the lockdown, I noticed. And it's become a very busy recreational road, you might say. Dog walking, especially people walking, runners, bikers. It's very narrow, that there is not, you know, you'd have to jump into a ditch if you had to ditch a car, you know. And I'm concerned because it already feels like, especially with all the growth to the north of us and to the east, and Stebner Road, recently Stebner at Hermantown and Stebner at Anderson, where I need to make my escapes to come east, I've had to turn around and go back up Getchell to Maple Grove because the cars coming up and down Stebner are so, it's become quite, in just the few years I've been here, I can't believe the traffic growth. And this is going to be another section of traffic growth. And I'm really concerned about this because the narrowness of the road is kind of, you know, dicey as it is, and a lot of people use it, including me. That's why we love to be out where we are in Hermantown and enjoy that. And I'm pretty sure that if there's that's 6 acres, I don't know how many, if it's residential, I don't know how many people might be building on that, but that's going to bring in an enormous amount of machinery. It's certainly going to affect the wetland concerns that I have. That is I have a background in environmental botany and research, and I've noticed that there's obligate wetland plants there, species. And the other thing that concerns me is we are going to experience a lot more rain. We know it's coming around the world. It's going to hit here like it did in 2012. And I'm concerned, where is that water going? As we keep building, it has to go somewhere. And it's going to go down these narrow banks. It's going to go to maybe his pond. I'm not sure, but I have two questions. Has that been, I don't know the legal questions anymore for it, but has it been looked at for mitigation and for just a site analysis of its importance as a wetland and a water holder? And I can just tell you there's an amazing number of wildlife there. I have seen ducks and 3 species of frogs directly in the deepest part of that area where it stays wet for pretty much around the till snow, but it also comes up and down. But I noticed when we had real wet years, it got really high in wood flood part of the road occasionally. So that being to me a real concern of protecting our wetlands and making sure that they don't disappear. And because if you know, where does the water go? It's going to go somewhere. It's going to go to maybe our basements, our houses, I don't know, down the road I'm at the bottom of the hill. So I have some concerns about that. So the second one is the traffic concerns. When I lived in outstate in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, they began building a lot of, they were on big lots, but as the traffic grew, the roads became very dangerous, and they have a different system than we do, but the narrow roads, they did research. I was part of it because I was working at a nature preserve. A family of 3+ moving in to a, a nice big house will bring anywhere from 4 to 8 more daily cars, that's per house, into the area. That's a lot of traffic for that little part of the road. And I'm really concerned about that, not to mention the disruption of whatever building might go on. That's my two biggest one. But I would like to see if there's been any mitigation prepared for this, when it is developed, whether it's one house or 3 or 4. I would like to see that addressed. And if this is an important wetland, how will they deal with that? Thank you.
I'll try and help Eric out here by reiterating that there's no plans that have been turned into the city for actually developing that lot. We're just here to look at rezoning it tonight. If and when those plans come forward someday, we can address a lot of those concerns at that point, but right now tonight, we're just looking at rezoning.
And I will grab it from there. Thank you, Mr. Chair. A wetland delineation has been performed. It's going to be reviewed out in the field by myself, St. Louis County Soil Water Conservation District, Board of Water and Soil Resources, which is the state, as well as the Corps of Engineers and the DNR. So we're going to be out on site this coming Monday. They look at the report that's been prepared by Mr. Rob Peterson, who is frankly one of the best in the business up here as far as the wetland delineations go. So there'll be the delineation will be looked at, that'll either be modified or concurred with at that time. And then that serves as a basis for if and when this property would develop at that point. If there are wetland impacts, per the WACA, Wetland Conservation Act, they're allowed up to 10,000 square feet of wetland impact or 5% of the total wetland on site, whichever is less. From looking at it initially, I think it's coming in around maybe 3,500 or 4,000 square feet is what they can fall under for the nationwide permit. If they exceed that, they'd have to get into the point where they'd have to purchase wetland credits. But once again, that's all dependent upon a development. Whoever develops the site, that's the they. Yep, so that would be, as Mr. Peterson talked, and we're just looking at the rezoning tonight. If and when an application comes in, all more of those deeper things come in. You start looking at stormwater, you look at the wetlands, and all the things from a system-wide that way.
Any other questions or comments this evening on 5A? Please come on up, state your name and address for the record. Not seeing any, we'll close the public hearing at 7:18. Commission members, counselor, any other questions or comments on this one this evening? Anything else there?
No, that sums it up. Once again, like I said, if and when, assuming this is rezoned, that this would come back to, if it was anything more than 3 or 4 homes, anything it's more than 3 homes, it would have to come back to this board. Yes, because you have the ability to what's called administratively subdivide. And so I always tell people the city can create 3 brand new lots, but at the 4th lot, it requires a plat. And this property, I want to say, is plus or minus a little over 600 feet of basically lot width or frontage under the standard R3 zoning. It's not to say that it couldn't come in as a PUD, but under standard zoning, a lot width is 100 feet. So in theory, if you just subdivide this 100 feet up, there could be 6 lots there under standard zoning, but they have to come back because it would be a plat scenario. And once again, that's under standard zoning. Planned unit development is also a potential option for any sort of development in the city.
And then I guess one other quick question for Eric. So just to make sure I'm understanding, so on the proposed zoning map in our packets, it looks like it's R3 zoning all the way around. So we're not doing any sort of spot zoning. We're just shrinking that public and bringing in what's surrounding, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Actually, please come up to the microphone.
Nancy Deaver, 3868 Getchell Road. What is the correct, or if it's been changed, setback for a home development.
So under standard R3 zoning, it's a 50-foot front yard setback.
Okay.
It's a minimum of a 10-foot setback. We call an aggregate of 25. So essentially one side's 10, one side's 15 for a total of 25, and a rear yard is 40 feet. That's under standard zoning.
Okay, thank
Once
you.
again, under planned unit development, not to cloud the issues, those can be modified depending on the type of development.
Yeah, I just wanted to know the basics because I wasn't able to find them. Thank you.
Thank you. Commission members, any other questions or comments before we look for a motion? Not seeing any, I look for a motion on 5A, the application for rezoning of the 6.4 acre parcel located at 3807 Getchell Road.
I move to approve.
Thank you for that. Can I get a second?
Oakquist with the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Not hearing any, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
So to help out the members of the audience, this will go to the, I believe it's the October 6th city council meeting. And at the city council, there's actually 2 readings for rezonings. The first reading is essentially a informational owning. And then the second meeting, which is the 20th, that's when the city council would take action on it. So at that, you're welcome to attend both meetings, but public comment is typically taken at the meeting where action is taken. So it'd be October 20th.
If you could come to the prior one and speak during the public comment period.
If you come on the 6th, if you recall, when the chair asked at the beginning, if under public discussion, that is when you would talk on the 6th. If you come on the 20th, the mayor would actually, when this item comes up, the mayor would ask for public comment on that specific item. So you could have the ability to speak on this twice. Both on the 6th and then as well on the 20th. The 20th being the date that action would be taken.
Actually, I think it's the 9th. No, it's the 2nd and the 16th of October.
Well, thank you very much. See there.
October 2nd and October 16th, first and third Mondays of October. You can find more information on the website as well.
Thank you for that.
And thank you for the clarification.
Up this evening, public hearing 5B is an application by Civil Site Corp for a commercial industrial development permit for a 10,700 square foot building expansion of the Titan machinery business, along with associated site stormwater improvements. The property is located at 4311 Haynes Road and is located in the BLM Business and Light Manufacturing Zoning District. Eric, what do you have for us on this one?
Well, great. Thank you very much. And bear with me. I'm going to turn the mic back on. David and the other member, can you hear me at home?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. I want to apologize to the group. We're going to have some feedback. Okay. As you mentioned, this is a 7.17 acre site. It's the existing Titan machinery at 4311 Haynes Road. It's zoned business light manufacturing. The applicant is looking to construct a 10,700 square foot building addition. The purpose of that is going to be a 5-day workshop addition. It would be located on the western portion of the property. So on the screen right now, this ghosted area, that's the existing building with the parking. This is their existing class 5 surfacing that they have in the rear portion of the property. This is where the building addition is planned for the backside. The walls will be precast concrete. It'll be similar to the existing building and look and finish as well. The building addition is now shown on the screen as well. At its high point, it's a 29-foot height building. And the lot coverage would be 8% total of this lot. The BLM allows up to 35% lot coverage, so it's still, from a building standpoint, is very little on this property. The proposed building location meets or exceeds all the required setbacks. There'll still be spaces for 15 parking spaces. The applicant has had conversations with St. Louis County, as they are the traffic control for Haynes Road and West Arrowhead. And as part of that, the Haynes Road entrance will be closed and the West Arrowhead entrance will become a right in, right out. So from a traffic standpoint, it seems to be a good agreement between the two entities that way. The existing building does have a connection to water and sewer, and there will be a proposed stormwater structure located in this northwest portion of the site to capture and treat stormwater before it's released into the wetland and associated Miller Creek at that point. The wetland delineation was reviewed and approved back in August, and there are no proposed wetland impacts associated with this work. It's just going to be handled within that existing Class 5 area as it exists today.
Thank you for that, Eric. Commission members, any questions or comments so far?
No questions.
That's the applicant or online.
I believe we have two people. There's a David and a 952 number, but at this point, I don't believe they have any questions or comments.
Perfect, thank you for that. We'd like to open up the floor at 7:27 for the public hearing on 5B. Sir, if you'd like to speak on this one this evening, please come on up, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Prince Lear. I live at 4226 Surveys Road. I own the west Miller Creek there. Because I couldn't hear, maybe you did explain it. My concern is want to be more filling of the wetlands there, or just not going to change or.
They're just working in that existing gravel area now. There's no wetland impacts associated with this.
Because my concern is that on my property there, versus when it filled, I don't know how many years ago. I think the other half had it filled. So when I bought the drive, there's something either west or filled with something. And it had negative as far as in the spring that it's flooding my, and I just don't want to do more than I would have. I think that probably was in the 90s. I was going to do some development back then, but the core shut everything down. I was surprised that that bill was existing for them. Believe it was still in, but we had a lot of money. All I want to say that there was a lot of years before we were city, I know building, and I was you gather at the end of that purchase that land, but it was nice guy. I would say that it was a good old boys that got things done. Where some of us others couldn't get done. Or politics. But that's my own concern, because I just whatever it was fine, but I don't want to we were filling more, then it was the concern of the back. Arrowhead. To my property. I don't want more.
Yeah, right now, like you said, they're just working in an existing impervious area, and the benefit of this new development is they're actually gonna provide some stormwater controls, which don't exist today.
Of course, I know that, also that parking lot is, just grass or whatever, and it's probably put, asphalt or something there, so. Hopefully, no, I don't know. Change for run.
And the city classifies gravel in class 5 as an impervious surface. So it's the same, and just with the nature of the large machines and tracked vehicles that they have, I envision that will still be gravel back there, and we do allow that. It's when you get the parking surfaces, that's where we want to see paved. But these heavy traffic zones with that type of machinery, we realize that would cause issues with the bituminous.
That's all happening. Especially from pain to the cold. That was really a major thing that they've been going through all this year, summer. And but I really thought it's all I checked how there's a trout on in my there used to be a beaver pond there. The DNR and then blew it out years ago. But you know, so old and I don't know if they're want to do something up there to improve that. And then what I did, it's just like a park. I think it's beautiful. I think it's trail. I only one side of 40 trees. So really there.
Thank you very much. Commissioner, any other questions or comments on this application? Let's see, for a motion.
Focus motion.
Clark with the second.
Thank you for that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. We have it's an application for a special use permit by a civil site group for grading and filling in a natural environment shoreline area for the purpose of constructing a 10,700 square foot building expansion of the Titan machinery business. The property is located at 4311 Haynes Road in the BLM light manufacturing zoning district. Eric, what do you have on this one?
Well, great, thank you. This is a continuation order, basically the next step of this project. I'm still having it on speaker just for the people at home. So on the screen right now, you see this is the area of the natural environment shoreland area. Right now, like I said, that is existing gravel that exists in that property right now. Just with the grading activities that they're going to be doing, be able to now direct some stormwater to this back corner where that drainage structure will be. That's what requires this special use permit, since we're going to be doing work essentially in this 10,000 square foot area.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Commission members, any questions for Eric on 5C? Not hearing any, is there a motion on 5C?
I move to approve.
Thank you for that. Can I get a second?
Focus for the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that. Motion passes. Moving on to number 6, continuing business. Update on the alternative permit document for the proposed Hermantown Business Park.
Well, great, thank you. This is more or less just information for the group. The city and HEDA have been working on with the owners of the property at Highway 53 and Levake Bypass for the last probably 6-8 months on this environmental scoping document. This is a document that will help at least answer some of the environmental questions associated with any future development of that property there. So we've gone through a number of steps in this scoping document, and right now this is the draft AUAR. So it's open up for public comment. It's the public period, there's a 30-day period. It started last Tuesday, a week ago, and it runs through the middle of October. So we do have this document on the city's website. I'm working with Mr. Wickland to make sure it's a little bit more easily obtainable. But right now, and if I can, I'll attempt to share a screen with you. I can show you where it's located, maybe. No, you can't see it on the screen. I apologize. But it's under, and the city's website is under business. And then we have a tab for economic development, or HEDA. And that opens up a tab where it says Highway 53 Business Park Project. And the second tab down is actually the AUAR Hermantown draft. So that has a 330 some page document in there. Right above it is the notice of draft availability. So if any of you have the desire to look at that and you have questions or comments, it refers you back to me to provide written comments. And those comments then are forwarded to our consultant, Braun, and those are then answered as part of this process that way. So once again, I just wanted to give you, this information. Should you have any desire to review the document, ask any questions, or provide comments on the document.
Thank you for that, Eric. Number 7, any new business?
Yes, there is, and I apologize I didn't have that on there. Now, associated once again with this business park or proposed business park, staff has been working in an actual brand new zoning district. So it'd be called the Hermantown Business Park Zoning District. And what we've been looking at is taking elements from the business light manufacturing, a bit from the C commercial, as well as some from the HM and Hermantown marketplace to kind of meld this new business park zoning district. So staff plans on bringing that to the October P&Z and for your essentially review and potentially vote. If there's other questions, we can definitely continue that into November, but it's not as cumbersome as the sign ordinance was or a PUD. So it should be a little bit more streamlined. Really, the goal is to allow, or at least to identify uses, site design, et cetera. That's a little bit higher quality than you would typically see just in our straight business light manufacturing district. Once again, it takes some elements from the Hermantown marketplace, but doesn't go as far as getting into specific building materials, landscaping, et cetera, that way.
Thank you again. Looks like there was a communication, a correspondence from a Dale Simonson.
I apologize, I'm gonna look at my packet. Did you have questions with that, or?
I do not. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, doesn't really matter.
I didn't see it in our packet.
Yeah, and I apologize. I'll give you a brief synopsis. Mr. Seamson owns property at the end of Benson Road, which is located south of Morris Thomas. I believe it's off of the lake.
Okay.
His property has public right of way which abuts the property, but the road stops about 80 feet short of that. So it's been the city's policy in any type of scenario like that, that if there wants to be any development of that property, the road has to extend to the property, that we don't allow private driveways in public right of way. Staff has met with Mr. Seamson a couple times out on the property to discuss this with them, and as well as to roughly locate where this gravel ends today. Staff also went back into aerials back in 1972, showing the same location of this gravel roadway through the decades. There had been some concerns from Mr. Seamson that, in his opinion, that road progressed further into the lot, but at least on aerial photo data, it was supporting what you see there today. And I think he was expressing his concerns in that letter. And I apologize, I don't have that. I can make sure that it's part of your packet for the October meeting.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to read it front to back. It's quite entertaining, so please, yeah, we need to make sure that they get it.
But just wanted to try to give you a brief synopsis of at least what staff has encountered that way.
My thoughts from Valerie and my home.
Okay.
Down the road.
Nice. Thank you for that. Number 9, commission member reports. Nothing from myself. Mr. Colquist.
I guess I have a question. Is now the time or?
Sure, fire away.
So with PNR backing out of the Ingwalls property, what comes about with the TIF and how does all that sit? Can someone pick it up and move forward?
You could make a motion to rezone it back.
Well, I would just, I guess I'm just, where is all that stand now with PNR backing out of the deal?
The staff has only heard verbal. We've not received any sort of written statement from PNR. So that's all I can at least comment on as far as are they a go, are they a no-go? If for some reason they are a no-go, it is still an active TIF district. And someone has the ability to do a development in there, could qualify for TIF under the redevelopment district, but they will need to go through the exact same process to show the need for TIF and have a project that would generate the monies or the taxes needed to support a TIF district as well. It's a fairly cumbersome process, but we have good professionals in place with Mr. Overham as the city attorney in these matters, as well as a company out of the Twin Cities named Ellers that provides all that information and background. So should PNR not be pursuing the site, once again, it is still an active TIF district. If someone came in with something that was very similar to it, once again, you have to show the math and that the need is there, that TIF could be a possibility for a development. Once again, if you come in with something, I'm gonna build a small coffee shop, you're not gonna get TIF. I'm gonna build a 10,000 square foot building, you're not gonna get TIF. So you need something of that magnitude that will generate those numbers.
A secondary question, how long does that TIF district stay in place?
I do not have a question. I don't have an answer for that. I do not know that.
I mean, I would assume that could be retracted.
By council action,
Right.
we could go that way.
Yeah.
Yep. But right now, it's been deemed as a blighted property for a professional LHB.
Yep.
And is right now it is an active TIF district.
Good.
Was there an announcement that they backed out, or I guess I hadn't heard that?
Not yet.
Well, and they haven't even made an application, so there's nothing to back out from.
This is
really.
true.
I mean, there's nothing other than they showed interest, but they never applied for anything, so if they're backing out, it's only from verbal discussion.
Verbal discussion, and it's more of it's a backing out of a purchase agreement with the property owner is probably what it is. So what is Mr. Geisler just said that, yeah, there's no applications with the city. So there's nothing to retract from there and that way. There's no development agreements in place between the cities nor PNR.
They're just not buying the property.
Right,
That's what it sounds like.
even though we went through the whole process to do the TIF, kind of based on the fact that they were interested, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Valerie Roulette, any report?
Just brief comment, I will not be here for the October meeting.
Thank you for that. Samuel Clark?
I was just gonna say that I've enjoyed my time on the P and Z, but after this month, I will be stepping down. It's got a lot of other stuff going on, so.
Well, thanks for joining us all these years.
Yeah.
Honestly,
You should send
Yeah.
the official.
Yeah, I will. Yep, but I was gonna wait till after the meeting just because I've enjoyed my time, so.
and Counselor Geisler.
You know, I don't know that I have anything.
What? Are you serious?
About that.
Let's go 5 for
I was
5.
looking forward to it.
Business as usual, everybody's doing a good job and.
Thank you very much. With that, I look for a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
Talk for the second.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're going to close the meeting at 7:44 PM. Thank you very much.